Tuz Biber FM.
Hello, can I see your passports, please?
A little bit here, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
I'm going to look like Larry David. Like,
Hell
you know
yeah.
that Annie Hall poster over there? Look how bad the photo is. You can see his bald spot.
Yeah.
Like Woody Allen's bald
Yeah.
spot.
He wanted to
Yeah.
stay real, man. You
Huh?
know?
He
wanted to
deserves
stay
it.
real.
Yeah, but that's not attractive to children.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go, dude.
Yeah, you already started. All right.
I feel so bad for Woody Allen because I don't think it's true. I think his wife was crazy.
No,
Mia
dude.
Farrow, really? If there's any crazy women
Dude,
who would
but
be
the-
vengeful of their husbands, is Mia Farrow.
Dude, but the daughter is so fucked from what happened.
And also, she's
because
very
her,
hot.
Her mother taught her. Like half of the kids don't talk to their mother because she used to teach them that Woody Allen
Was
did
a
that.
rapist. Allah Allah.
Yeah. Ronan Farrow, the guy who was supposed to be Woody Allen's biological son.
Right. They're like, it's
Frank
Frank
Sinatra.
Sinatra's.
Religion.
Yeah, I know.
It's Frank Sinatra's son.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? All his life, he thought that that's his son. I get very fired up about Woody Allen. 'Cause I don't think he's fair.
Okay, I know what I'm gonna ask during the recording.
Because
I
he's
was
one of the greats. Like, if you watch his stand-up now, as funny as it was in the 60s.
still holds.
No one is talking about how unfunny he is.
But that's the thing, because she tarnished his reputation. She promised him during the divorce that this is like, it's public. It's in the court files. I will ruin your life.
Yeah,
And
but
she did.
No, she didn't.
Yeah,
Nobody-
it's a ruined life.
Like, right
Like,
now,
it's a
nobody
dream
wants
for
to
many
work with Woody
people.
Allen. No one there's no production company that wants to give him money to make films.
Yeah, but he makes his own films anyway.
Well,
Midnight
not-
in Paris.
yeah.
Yeah,
But he needs money to make the films.
I know. I totally believe the
Nobody
people.
wants-
I believe the kids. I
I
believe,
believe
the stories.
a lot of people, but not...
Okay.
Did you watch the documentary?
What? The Woody Allen documentary? Yeah, I've watched a lot of things about Woody Allen.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I haven't.
Yeah.
All right.
Do they say he's a fiddler? Is that
But
it?
here's the other weird thing. He's only been accused once.
What do you mean?
It's just like there are no other accusations. No other children ever in
No
his
repeating
life.
offenses.
There is nobody ever saying this to him. There's no one ever saying this about him except his wife, who's trying to get revenge over a divorce.
Yeah, but what about the stepdaughter he married? Isn't
Yeah,
that
it's a
kind of
step-
sus?
That's not his. It's weird. I'm not saying it's
Yes.
not weird.
Yeah.
They started going out when she was 19. They met her
Right.
when she was 21.
Right.
She's a grown lady. She is the daughter.
But it's
that's-
always assumed that she was groomed into
Yeah,
it.
I was going to
Yeah.
say it's grooming.
Yeah. But there's a difference between 18,
Grooming and
19-year-old and a 7-year-old. Huge difference.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is what we're talking about, because she's been accused once by this very suspicious incident that he did it once while they were getting divorced.
No, that's not the story. You didn't watch the documentary.
No. The story is that he did it
It was
in.
continual, weird,
It was weird.
naked times with the child.
Yeah, kids run around naked in the house. If you have kids, that's what they do. But here's the other thing. She adopted 15 children.
Right, I know.
3 of them committed suicide.
Oh my god, that's worse actually. You know, if they commit
Right?
suicide, that's
Killing them versus raping them.
I think so. Yeah, if you put them in order,
Yeah.
making them kill themselves, even if it's even in the lower tier, you know, like
So
compared to
I-
killing them.
Of course.
Personally.
Like, I'm not saying that, actual, Jimmy Savile, Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Cosby. No one's contesting that. 'Cause that is overwhelming, like, accusations. This is
Yeah.
just one lady who is just... She has that weird bangs, you know what I mean? Like the weird haircut where the bangs are too short. I'm like, this is crazy lady territory. Because that's a bad haircut that she asks for. Repeatedly, she goes to the hairdresser, you know what I mean? Cut it shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're one to talk with your fucking...
Are you just defending her because she's a woman?
No, I don't believe all women.
Okay, here's a question. Here's
There
a
you go.
question for you, Victor. Here's a question. You have to have sex with this woman to make Woody Allen cleared of these accusations. Would you do that?
What women are we talking about?
Mia Farrow.
What, now or Mia Farrow when she was going out with Frank Sinatra?
Now.
No, of course.
Now she looks like a prune.
You wouldn't?
Ugh.
So you wouldn't save Woody Allen, your fellow comedian friend?
No, because I don't know, man. This is a weird question.
What a would you rather question.
But why are these the options? And how would this absolve him?
I don't know. The world is suddenly convinced
Like
that...
by comparison, in the difference of years, it would be pedophilia if she'd have sex with me because she's like 173.
You're trying to find some logic in the most unlogical question.
That's your first mistake. Trying to find logic.
Yeah.
Wait, are we?
You're a traveling comedian. There is no logic in your life anyways.
Yes, there is. It's like I need to be here now, and then I'm going to
there's
another place.
structure.
Dude, why don't you introduce who he is?
Yeah, I will do that in a second because we were talking
fun.
about... Yeah.
I'm like, who is this guy?
I wanted
I don't
to...
know.
A guy who has opinions on Woody Allen and his wife. I have opinions on a relationship that I'm not part of. This is the problem. with
That's
our
your
society.
thing.
We
We
have
have
opinions,
Yeah.
you say. Okay.
Yeah.
So many
Okay, we'll
opinions.
talk about your opinions a lot, but let's start the show. Welcome everyone to Passport Comedy Podcast, where we interview comedians and creators from all around the world, where they present their work in Europe, in various cultures, in English. And today I am joined by very beloved comedians, talented people, Nilüfer Yüce
Hello.
and Victor.
Hello. Sorry, I threw up when you said beloved.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah, I was like, this is disgusting.
fucking disgusting, bro.
I'll do the last bit again.
No. Keep it in.
Okay, we will keep it in. All right. Victor Patrascan.
Just like me, the food. I'm trying to keep it in.
Okay.
This is already
He
disgusting.
thinks he's not beloved. Victor Patrascan. Okay. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
So maybe introduce yourselves and comedy careers in a few short sentences, couple minutes. Let's hear about you, Nilüfer, first.
Yes, mine is definitely less interesting than Victor's probably. I started out in Savannah, Georgia, March 2017. During my grad school, I was studying dramatic writing.
You saved the date. Do you celebrate it every year?
I have the date somewhere. I think it's the 28th or something, but I just know it's March 2017.
Okay.
And then did it there, went to Atlanta, and would go on the weekends sometimes. So not went to Atlanta, but I do shows in Atlanta and stuff. And then once I graduated, 2.5 years later, I moved to New York, did it there for about 9 months.
Okay.
That was fun and nerve-wracking.
It's off topic, but it's put me off when people talk about comedy and their experiences, talking about the same. It feels like they are talking about their workout routine, right? I did comedy over there for 9 months, like it's a basic squat or something.
You don't like that?
No, it's like
You worked on your glutes.
Yeah, man, I worked on them jokes. You know what I mean?
lifting jokes left and right.
Yeah, man. Trying some bits, you know?
Yeah, so you then moved back to Turkey. When
Yeah.
was it?
March 2020. And
Okay.
I actually decided to move back in 2 days. The pandemic started and I was actually trying to get the artist visa in the States. I went on a tour January 2020 and I was really going for that. Super stoked to be in the States. I loved living there. And then the pandemic happened and I hadn't been back in 3 years. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll go visit for a week or two. And then my mom was like, well, if you're going to come, you should come
Now you're trapped in Turkey.
No, not at all. My mom was like, if you're going to come, you should come tomorrow or something because you might not be able to. And then I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to move to Turkey. And I packed everything into 2 suitcases and I really moved back because I was like stoked to like do it in Turkish because I'd never done it in Turkish before.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll do it in Turkish. I've been doing it here for like 3 years. I'm like, I'm going to be so good once I get there. And then I got here and like all my jokes were not working in English in Turkish because I was like just translating them. And I just like didn't feel as comfortable in the language. And I was like, maybe I should like fuck some Turkish dudes, live in Turkish a little before I do it again. So like I took a break, which is very unorthodox for me because like when I started, I was like, let's do it all the time as much as we can.
You took a break fucking Turkish guys? That's weird.
I took a break to fuck Turkish guys.
That's
and then I did. I know, right? So I did that, fucked some Turkish dudes, worked at a social media agency or whatever. And then a few months, like probably 6-8 months after I came back, which was like June 2021. And
yeah,
then,
it's around the time I got back to Turkey. So I'm here since June 2021. And I met Nilüfer over here on my second time in Turkey. She's very funny, very talented in both languages, bilingual. Check her stuff. She does a podcast in Turkish too. Nilüfer Yüce Podcast, is it?
Nilüfer Podcast.
Nilüfer Podcast,
Although I did have a podcast in English. In the States.
Check that out too. It's everywhere.
I mean, you don't have to. It's called Doing It with Nilüfer. It's a sex podcast. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Okay, enough.
Cool. Nice to meet you, Nilüfer. On behalf of all the 100,000 listeners, you guys don't know, but we have 100,000 listeners. We actually have 100
one
listeners.
guy listening 100,000 times.
No, actually 100 guys with 1,000 split personalities each, so they each time listen, it's fresh to them, so it's 100,000.
Manifestation.
They identify as 1,000 people. What can you say in this day and age? It's a new culture, woke culture. They can identify as multiple people now.
What I'm impressed with is the maths.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at you going like, can you do the maths here? If it's 1,000 people, how many times do they have to listen? How many?
So yeah, Victor Patrascan, let's get to know you too.
Yeah, I'm just a guy. I tell jokes. I've been telling jokes for 10, 11 years.
Wow.
Since the pandemic started, I've been on the road. So I've been on the road for over 2 years.
You started in UK, right?
Yeah, I started in London. I went to London because they wouldn't let me in the United States.
So you are more privileged than a European.
Yeah.
Hey.
Sure.
And I went to London, just bombed for 8 years in all sorts of dingy basements and pubs. And then...
classical story of becoming a comedian.
Truly bombed?
Oh, Lord. I have some...
Not to cut you off, but we used to play this game with it's not a game, but we would ask this question among each other, like comics, like how many times... or for how long do you have to keep bombing before you quit comedy?
Well, the problem for me bombing was not me, it was the audience. You don't get it, do you?
That's Larry David's approach.
I love that.
Yeah. Because I was like, I am God's gift to comedy. Why are you not understanding this?
Yeah.
Because I went to London. You know what I mean? I saw like Eddie Izzard, I saw Jimmy Carr. I think I saw Frankie Boyle at the time. And I thought like, people would understand irony, right? So if I go there, they'll understand that I'm not serious. But they didn't. Because they saw me as a Romanian guy and they were like, nah, you probably mean those things. I'm like, no, I don't. Right? And it was a weird experience, but...
you probably didn't bomb that hard, like back to back for a couple years. It was couple shows, and you get couple of laughs. And
he's like, no, I was bombing.
No, it was horrible. Just people confused by the things that I was saying, and I was like, because it's like you don't know, because I feel like there's a thing where I was doing. There must be a
language barrier too. Your English must
no, it was a logic barrier.
Now
it was a logic barrier because at the time I didn't understand that I have to make it palpable for the audience. So I was just doing the punchlines, but without a lot of setup. So they didn't understand why I thought it was funny.
I see.
So that was my issue for a really long time. I didn't understand that I have to explain it to them because they're stupid.
Right.
It's like, hey,
Hey, you are stupid. No,
you know,
I don't
actually
accept
think the
this, no.
Holocaust is a bad idea. That's why I'm saying these things. That's why I think it's funny. And it's real, by the way. I don't know what kind of listeners you have, but the Holocaust happened and it was a bad idea.
100 mentally ill people are on board with what you're saying. I can vouch for them. So you started in UK.
Yeah.
You bombed a couple of years.
Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah.
Then you slowly started getting laughs and traction as well.
Yeah. And I started doing comedy, and then the pandemic hit. I was on my first tour through Europe. I was in Ljubljana in Slovenia. And state of emergency was called, and no one was on the street. Like, I remember I go downstairs in the reception of the hotel, and everyone was panicking. Everyone was like, there's no one outside. We don't know what to do. And I had the show that night.
Wow.
Yeah, like 25 people showed up. And I did the show, and then I had to cancel all the other dates. I went back to London, stayed there for the beginning of the pandemic because everyone was locked down for like 3 months. And I was going crazy. Like, I was
there too on that time.
I was living with other people because I had like a small room. The plan was to kind of travel around and just do shows and maybe go to London maybe a week, a month. And I just needed a place to sleep. And now I was a prisoner in that room. I remember like the thing that really broke me was I go back home. I was going on walks. I was taking photos of flowers, just walking around, just like for something to do. And one of my housemates goes like, this is the third time you've been out. We're allowed only twice. I'm like, I'm leaving. And I gave everything away.
Okay.
And
you sold your stuff?
Everything. And I heard at the time that Berlin opened up and people were doing open mics. I'm like, I'm going to Berlin. I went to Berlin, and from Berlin I started traveling. And then the first winter of the pandemic started, and Spain was the only country in Europe that had theaters open. And I don't know, because the Spanish, they're not cultural people. You know what I mean? They like dancing.
They had a high death rate too, though. So it's okay. We need our entertainment. People can't die. They die all the time. So why not?
But nobody cared. Like, the rooms were full, like at 50% capacity. But I started doing shows in this theater in Barcelona. People, like, at some point, the restrictions were so tough. People had to wear masks at all points. They couldn't take their masks off even to drink.
Yeah,
right?
It was like that here too.
But people, what they did was they were just downing drinks outside. I was like, guys, we're starting the show. Wait. And just downing beers and just wine, whatever they had. But
wait. Let me inject some heroin too.
My favorite thing was I saw people with drinks in their breast pocket and a straw under their mask. Because they couldn't. They were going crazy. So they had to do something social. So since then, I've just been on the road. I'm just traveling. And now it's the first time.
You have no base now?
No. I'm a bum. I look like a bum. You can't see me, but imagine a Romanian bum, and then imagine he has a big beard. That's me now. Yeah. And now I'm in Istanbul, and it's great. It's my first time doing shows. I did a show last night, and you're on the show, and you're great. And both of you are on the show. You're great. It's really nice. To be here.
English Comedy Week. Yes.
Thanks for letting me go up. By the way, I really appreciated that. You were like, dude, you want to do 5 minutes? I was like, hell yeah. Yeah,
of course, because this is the community of the comedy. It's like, hey, do you want to jump on?
Yeah, love that.
Yeah. We'll come back to the comedy and comedy theory. I know comedians love talking about comedy, but it's not fun for everyone, like audience members.
Just want to hear doing this just for us here?
We are doing this just for us. Yeah. But we'll delve into things that we want to talk about. But I want to ask a weird trade-off question. A couple of them just lighten the mood a little bit. Let's say one of your jokes will be put on the most valuable note of money.
An NFT?
No. Like 50 pounds, let's say. 50 pounds notes.
Yeah.
They will have your picture.
Yeah.
And one of your jokes.
I think a funnier joke would be Prince Andrew on the 50 pounds. Because that's too old for him.
So you would have your own picture, and your joke is you should have had Prince Andrew.
Yeah. I think on the £5 note.
Prince Andrew.
Age appropriate, 5.
So he deserves the 5 pound note.
Well, I don't think he deserves it, but he takes it because his royalty. He's better than everybody else.
Yeah, he loves 5.
Huh?
He loves 5.
Fives and sevens, yeah.
5s and 7s.
Yeah.
7 pound notes specifically for him. He's producer and he can.
7 going on 8. That's the new currency. in the
on
UK.
their birthday it increases, right?
Yeah. It loses value.
Same question for you. You can answer
So
the
there's
same
going to be
question.
my face and then my
One of
joke
your jokes.
quoted under
Yeah,
it.
yeah, on the note. So every time they are paid with that note, I don't know, it can be 5, 10, 50. You can rate your jokes this way, like OnlyFans.
Is it what kind of, is it British liras or Turkish liras or Lebanese? Do they have money over there? I think
I don't think so.
trade
They
like
don't even
leaves.
have electric over there. So
Yeah.
Do they have money over there?
Do they invent it already? How?
Yeah.
They're just
Dude,
giving you
that's
spices to get plane tickets, still trading.
Because it's like, do I want people to be like, oh, this is her face and this is a joke about her pussy? You know, like, do I...
Okay, never mind the face. Jokes. One of your jokes will be on the note.
I have that Armenian joke, but I don't... I was actually last night...
It's not recognized in Turkey as currency.
Yes, exactly. You actually had a joke last night, which reminded me one of like the jokes I used to do when I like first started, and I was like,
But you grow over it.
oh, I know, I
Like,
grew
I'm
out
too
of
good
it.
for this. But this guy is doing the jokes that I used to do in my first week. Thank you. I appreciate
I was
it.
like, I was so fucking proud of that joke too. It was this joke about where like, I have hypochondria, specifically like of the vagina, and like I go to the gynecologist a lot. And the other day, the gynecologist told me that I have a yeast infection, which like, don't worry, I took care of it. But like the next day when I woke up, I was doing an omelet, and you know, a yeast infection, it's basically like you're growing mushrooms in there. So, you know, I just dug up in there, plucked a few mushrooms, sprinkled them on my omelet, you know, and then my boyfriend broke up with me or whatever.
Very environmentally friendly. You don't even...
But I don't know which
That's
joke.
exactly like my joke. I talk about the mushrooms in my vagina too.
Wait, what? I don't remember what joke of yours that reminded me of that.
I have a joke about
Was it a yeast infection
the
joke?
difference between the religions, the Abrahamic religions, is that the Christians have yeast.
Okay, yeah, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeast in their bread?
Huh?
Yeast in their bread? Or
their
yeast in
souls.
general?
But something about like foreskin, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like,
I was giving away the joke, but come and see the show, guys.
come and see the show. Yeah, so dude, I have
This
absolutely.
is a joke that was cut off because I did this on TV in Romania and they cut it out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh.
So I have absolutely no jokes that I think valuable enough to be put on currency.
Yeah.
Maybe
okay.
ask
Maybe
me
it's
in
a stupid
5 years.
Question. Yeah.
No stupid questions.
No stupid questions here. So that brings
Here's
us to-
another one.
Here's another one. You've been on television, so
Yeah.
you are Romanian.
In Romania.
People don't.
I haven't been
understand
on like good television. I've been on television in Romania.
It's still TV, you know. It's
Do
something.
they recognize you on the street?
What? In
Romania?
No.
Okay. So
He's
you were
been
on
on
like.
the Romanian version of Who's Got Talent, right? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's like it's not Who's Got Talent. It's the Romanian version
Factor.
of Last Comic Standing.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing stand-up.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How was that?
Was one of the worst experiences of my
Well,
life.
I bet it
It's
was.
really fake, man. I don't want to do TV anymore. It's like it's not a real audiences. I did it twice. Only once there was one person in the audience who understood what I was saying. Like idiots.
Yeah.
They have like buses full of idiots. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That sometimes they take to television shows. Sometimes they take them to vote. Sometimes it's just the same bus of idiots that just bus around from show to show, and it's just old people and like students who have nothing to do during the day. And they
How
just
many comics auditioned for that?
I don't know. I wasn't part of the competition. I was like a special guest.
Okay.
'Cause if I was part of the competition, they would have just wiped the floor with me. Because I went on Romanian TV to say things that no one has ever said in Romania.
Yeah.
So that was the idea, to talk about religion. No one has ever talked about religion. They talked about the church, which is the institution, and the human fallibility when it comes to religion. But I went there to talk about God and Jesus.
Okay.
And Mary,
cool.
but they cut that out too. And then the second time I wanted to go and talk about racism in Romania. And say that the gypsies born in Romania are also Romanian. And people hated that even more.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I see. So it kind of gives the understanding that your style of comedy is more on the dark side of things.
No, I don't like to look at it like that, because it's not gratuitous, like, you know what I mean?
You only do jokes where you find it funny. I understand.
yeah.
But you are leaning on the side that jokes that tickles people who take it too seriously. Imagine that nobody is religious in this world. It's not going to make it funny when you think about it, because it's a myth, and people believing in it makes it funnier for the other people. So if everyone is atheists, you wouldn't do that joke because it's not funny anymore. Yeah, you're talking about some mythology. Let's give it up already. Let's talk about
I think it would still, because it's still funny with atheists, because they know the story. So jokes, they have another level when it's about something controversial, but I think jokes are mostly about something that you understand. Because puns are funny too, because you understand language. But that's not my intent. My intent is this. This is what I really want to do with the shows. You know that feeling when you're at home with your friends and it's late night? You had a drink or two, and you're having fun, and then someone goes like, "You guys know any jokes?" And then people start telling jokes, and then, you know what I mean? It gets worse and worse, and that's what I see comedy as hey, we're in this room together. We're not gonna say these things outside of this room, because it's
jokes.
upsetting to say these things. Like in normal life, the things that all of us say on stage, they just don't belong there. But in the context of a show, let's just challenge some things. You know what I mean? Let's have some laughs on things that we've never thought about.
You like to challenge the crowd. That's
so it's not dark, because I'm not trying to be dark. You know, I'm not. Anthony
of course,
Jeselnik.
I'm not really trying to say that you do it for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Just for the shocking effect and get an easy laugh, just to make people.
It's not Ricky Gervais or Jimmy Carr. It's I like Stanhope. I like Louis. I like Carlin. Pryor. You know, like Pryor's joke about why are vampires afraid of crosses, because they're allergic to bullshit.
That's a great
That's
joke.
amazing.
Perfect. Yeah.
You like to challenge the crowd. You also do. I mean, it takes you to a dark place. But I also find your comedy more philosophical. A little bit.
Jokes about penises and vaginas, man. Because I feel like this is the problem. It's like we can't take this too seriously, because it is penis and vagina jokes. You know what I mean? Like you were saying earlier, the yeast in the penis and the vagina.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about at the same time. You know what I mean?
Niloufer's style is more obvious on that front, right? Penis and vagina jokes.
Well, yeah, I guess. Mostly vagina, some penis sprinkled in there, some dick jokes. Yeah.
What is it that you get out of comedy? Why do you do it? How do you style it? You tell things, of course, you find it funny, right? It applies to all comedians all around the world, I think. But you have an angle, like Victor explained. He kind of wants to challenge people. In your words, what else you get out of it?
I love, like, my favorite thing is to make people laugh. That's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, I mean, is the question, what do you get out of like doing comedy, or what do you get out of the type of material you do?
What is your style? Let me ask a complete different question. What kind of subjects you love to make jokes?
Well, I think I like talking about sex and like my experiences with sex and love and relationships, because like I grew up like really comfortable talking about that. So talking about that stuff is not uncomfortable for me. It's not weird for me. And I think like the opinions I talk about, so many women have thought and felt, but they've never like actually said it out loud, especially specifically in Turkey.
Yeah.
So it's like thrilling to see, like, because here there's like this thing of people are kind of like scared to laugh, like they'll close their mouths, they won't make any sounds, but even
they
like
just smile sometimes.
Yeah, but like even seeing like two women up front who are like enjoying themselves so much because they're like, oh my God, she's saying these things. That really turns me on, you know? That's
Turns you on, yeah.
Yeah.
You also like
It's
to be
sexy.
voice of other woman who thinks the same, but
Yes.
can't really talk it out loud.
Yeah, but like I don't know, I don't know. It's like doing these kinds of jokes. It makes it less difficult to get on bigger shows. Once again, especially in Turkey, like people are scared to put you on stuff, which makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
it is dangerous.
I think there is a healthy balance between reaching out to your specific crowd and wanting to make more people laugh. So if
Right.
it boils down to enjoying comedy in the most abstract form, just making someone laugh, then the natural way is to not do a lot of offensive jokes, some wholesome jokes as well, something everybody can relate.
So right now,
There's a balance between what you like
Right.
and what everybody else likes.
So right now, what I'm experiencing is that doing these jokes is I enjoy it so much, and I think I'm good at it. I love language and playing with the language and like these new thoughts. I love doing all of this, but this is all, yeah, quote unquote easy for me. You know, like talking about this stuff is not uncomfortable for me. I can go there. I don't care if someone's disgusted or whatever. But I feel like right now my challenge is like going in a bit deeper, like really getting into
Personal stuff.
Yeah, talking about my feelings and my experience, my other experience outside the bedroom, you know. That's been like my ideologies, like how I look at life. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but like, and I don't want to do that just so I can get on other shows. It's just like a artistic, if you will, challenge for me.
Yeah, I see.
What do you think about that, Victor?
Do your thing, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, just because this is the beauty of comedy. You can. One of my favorite videos on YouTube is a video from the 80s from the Comedy Store. And Richard Pryor is on. And he's talking about growing up in a brothel. Killing.
Yes.
Everyone is they can't believe this man is sharing, like, his father was a pimp, his grandmother was a matron, you know what I mean? And he's sharing this thing, you know, sucking dick when he was 11. And then he closes his set and then he introduces Robin Williams. Robin Williams comes and just does all sorts of weird noises, jumps around, talks about the hair on his hands, gets the same reaction from the
Right.
audience. That's what's beautiful about what we do. It's like everyone is doing their own thing. You know, yeah, it's personal interpretation. What we're all trying to do is just get a laugh. Doesn't matter how we do it.
Yeah. So
Just
I want to go back to the origin story for each of you. How do you start stand-up comedy? What inspired you? What made you think that I have to go on stage and tell jokes?
This is the thing. Stand-up comedy is not. It's like it's a art form in the sense that okay, it's defined in the States. You know, Lenny Bruce, Mort Saul. They really invented the style that we do. You know what I mean? Personal. You know what I mean? Like Woody Allen on his album at the end, there's a little interview and he talks about seeing Mort Saul for the first time, and it just blew his mind because no one ever came on stage dressed in a sweater with a newspaper under his arm talking about current events in a language that nobody used before. You know what I mean? So these are the people that really changed and really formed what we do now. But it's just jokes, man. You know what I mean? Like street jokes. I love street jokes. And we all knew street jokes when we were kids. And I love street jokes. And I used to tell street jokes as a kid. And then I discovered like Seinfeld. And I was like, you can do this
So
for a
you were
living?
telling jokes even
This is
before you
amazing.
started as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, I love jokes. Yeah, jokes are amazing.
So
Yeah.
he's saying he was born ready doing stand-up comedy. How about you, Nilüfer? How did you start?
I have a very romantic story of how I started. I mean, I followed comedy. I was addicted to television, to sitcoms. I loved TV. I downloaded, what's his name? Dane Cook's special
Oh, wow.
accidentally because he did that like MySpace thing. I don't know if you heard about it. Like, so I thought I was downloading something. I downloaded that special, watched it over and over again. Watched Louis, Sarah Silverman, but the whole time, like, my mom's like super feminist. She's a sociologist. My dad does theater. Like, I grew up in like a very liberal left environment. But still, I never thought that like girls did this, you know, like and it's so weird thinking about it now because like I did not have those restrictions at all. But I was just like, yeah, this is something guys do. And then I started college, started in film and TV, then made it my minor, did dramatic writing. And then when I got into my master's, I was like, my thesis is going to be a talk show hosted by a woman. That was it. That's why I started. And then I was doing it, didn't know who's going to host it or anything like that. And then in March, we were on spring break and I was like having this like existential, you know, crisis of like, what am I doing? I'm still in Savannah. All my friends are graduated. Why am I even still doing school? And do you know Chris Gethard?
No, I have taste. I can't help myself.
Yeah, you say whatever you want about a stand-up, but he had this show called The Chris Gethard Show where it was on like public access TV in New York every Wednesday. Only like 30 people watched it live. And every show was like really weird. A lot of like depression talk. And I was watching like the tapes on YouTube and I'm like just like depressed watching it in my bed. And this one episode he was talking about like this caller called and some struggle. And he was saying like, you know, if you want to do something, go out and do it. If you want to do this, try that. If you want to do this, go do that. If you want to do stand-up, if you want to do comedy, go to an open mic. And I was like, I should go to an open mic. And then I met up with my friend that day.
It's very American. They always like to say, hey, go for it. Go for it.
Go
You can
for
do
it.
anything.
Yeah. And he's very much like that too. And so I went to this cafe with my friend and I was like telling her, dude, like I think I want to go to an open mic. And she was like, oh, I think I know a friend. And then literally randomly that friend showed up. Like we didn't even know she was going to be there. She was at the cafe and she was like, oh yeah, tomorrow Chuck's, there's an open mic. I was like, hell yeah. So I wrote 5 minutes and then I went up and that was it. Like just fell in love with it immediately.
Great. Congratulations.
Romantic, I told you.
Very romantic story.
Yeah. Very romantic.
Yes. But I'm like that. I'm a romantic chick.
Yeah, we fell in love with the story.
Good.
Like, yeah,
So,
love at first listen.
Oh yeah.
We used to send you guys like boys, like thousands of boys every year. Yeah.
yeah, but you were sending us the bad crop. Not
Sending
the good boys,
the best men.
bad boys.
That's why a lot of people look Romanian here, because it's like they're the
there's
children of the people that we send.
Probably
Mixed breeding with Romania and Turkey. You had a great joke about Bulgarians. It's half Romanian, half Turkish. It's
No.
what we call Bulgarian, is it?
No.
Isn't it?
It's like I met somebody whose parents, one of them is from Romania, one of them is from Turkey, which means that she's from Bulgaria. Because it's in the Bulgaria.
Yeah. So, Victor Patrascan, Matt Castelvi, and Zoe Brownstone.
Victor is looking at you like, who are these guys?
Who's coming here?
You, man, you come here.
Oh, okay.
For our English Comedy Week, we are in between that period where we catch Victor Patrascan in his touring of his English show all around Europe. In Istanbul, we had a chance to watch him.
I'm going to come back. I want to come back.
Yeah,
and
we
do,
really
like-
want you
yeah.
back, man. That was a great show, and we are looking forward to the next one, which is tomorrow. But yeah,
Tomorrow from the day we're recording, because
this is irrelevant to say when is the show, but yeah. We are in between shows now. But yeah, Victor, you have the most experience in between of us having
It's
international.
not a contest. This is such toxic masculinity. It's
I'm
like,
not saying it's a contest.
That's right.
yeah, whose is bigger?
Not exactly, but yeah.
Obviously, my dick is bigger than both of you.
Yeah, Nilüfer has the biggest clitoris, you know.
No, it's a dick. It's a dick. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's a different contest, but this is not a contest. We just want to have your experience to enlighten us. You know, I want to ask you as the most experienced. First, I want to ask you where you get the best experience as a stand-up comic, like interacting the audience, telling the jokes, getting a great reaction, and the worst experience? Can you tell us
as
both?
in like cities?
Yeah, cities.
Oh
my
God.
Is that you?
This is Ariam. No, it's not Murat. This is Ariam.
I was like,
Yeah.
what did I just do? Okay.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I thought. Yeah, that was an alarm. Sorry.
Is it for your birth control?
Yeah, I forgot to take the
It's
pill.
for prayer. Losing my religion towards Mecca.
It is a Friday. It is a Friday, so.
Yeah, I have to pray big time now for the whole week.
All right, I'll be the
Makeup.
imam. I don't know what they're saying. Is this too much? Is this going to be cut?
No, it's okay. You are lost in translation and also in logic, right? Lost in belief.
Yeah, I don't know what they're saying, but it's 5 in the morning. I'm like, man,
Man,
Really,
don't have
right
to
you
get
gotta
that
chill.
loud.
You gotta chill. Everybody has.
Yeah. So what's your question again? What's the best place?
Yeah, best experience you got out of as a traveling comedian and the worst experience, maybe city by city. It's up to you.
The best experience, man, it's like I'm amazed with everything. It's like every single show, I am like, who are these people? Why are they coming to the show? It's like, it's amazing everywhere. Like even if the show is not good, it's not good because of me, right? So it's not them. It's they're just nice, you know what I mean? Like little deer just coming with the big eyes and going like, oh.
I love how you went from like they're all stupid to it's all my fault.
Oh, they're stupid, but they're nice people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not their fault. And the worst experience, probably the one that hurt me the most is I tried to do jokes about religion in Bucharest and bombed 3 times at all the clubs.
Oof.
Like,
In your home country.
yeah. In Bucharest, where it's like young, you know, university educated intellectuals, just like they didn't want to. Like, I had a show, it was, I think, 15 or 16 of December 2019, at this comics club in Bucharest. 200 people. Me translating my jokes from English to Romanian
Okay.
about God.
Okay.
Silence.
Yeah.
At some point, a woman, 20-something-year-old, in the middle of the crowd, stands up and goes like, not during Lent. Not before Christmas. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that jokes about God offend you. Let's talk about Jesus. And then 2 guys by the stage stood up and they were like, nah.
Let's not.
Yeah. So that's the most heartbreaking.
So had you done those jokes in your language before?
I've done them at like some small shows in London, and they didn't go down well there.
Because I
either.
feel like
And then I did them on TV, and I was like, "This is what I'm doing." It's like, you don't like this? This is what you get.
Yeah, I feel like translating jokes, like I was really bad at it when I first came around, but I think I'm getting better at it. It's especially easier translating jokes from Turkish to English. But I just have, it's just, I think saying those words so many times makes a difference, you know?
Someone has to say them the first time.
No,
That's the thing.
no. I'm just saying, like, doing the joke over and over again.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you've done it in English doesn't matter.
I know.
In the end of the day, it's the first time you're doing it in Romanian, you know?
Yeah.
But it's more of the content of the things that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? It's like because before that, I did some like, you know, just kind of, hey, I'm Romanian, I live abroad. And people are like, ha, 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 look at you.
Right.
Silly
Look at the
Romanian.
clown.
Yeah. And then I went into jokes about God, and then they were like, no. And it's fine. They don't have to like them.
Yeah.
So I have to
I mean,
leave
maybe
my own
if
country.
they were funnier.
Yeah.
Didn't you think? Because I feel like that's a thing now.
Yeah, you two are a different breed than me because I started doing comedy in my native tongue. But you both started doing stand-up comedy in your second language, in English.
Yeah.
So I felt, some jokes are lost in translation, even if you know the language very well. It takes time, a little bit time, not a lot. If you have experience in other languages, you can transfer the experience, but not the, your flexibility with language. So maybe making it punchy enough you weren't experienced enough to do it in Romanian.
yes, that is also one of the things, but the things that I was talking about was things that no one's ever done jokes about God. They've done about priests, the churches, the building, you know what I mean? But no one about God. Yeah. No one about Jesus. No one about Virgin Mary's vagina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, but don't you think that if they were like, obviously I don't know the jokes and I know you're hilarious, but I'm just saying that like.
It's the jokes that I said last night.
Don't you think it was like funny? Oh, right.
I think
but
the first
thing,
joke.
It's the same jokes that I tell in English.
I think God made the first joke on Virgin Mary's vagina. That was a joke popping out of Jesus.
Yeah.
But that's what I was saying about like being here, like fucking Turkish dudes and living here. That I think because I'm still doing the same material. Like I'm doing the material that I wasn't doing well with when I first started out here. And after having lived here, it's like you pick up on the not just colloquialisms, but the culture, the vibe of the people.
Yeah.
You know, like the temperature of the audience.
I don't care about the... I want to say what I want to say.
Fair enough.
And how I want to say it. Mm-hmm. And because I can say this, because this is the weird thing. It's like I say these things every night to people from all over the world. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah,
this is the issue because and I think
all cultures have their sensitive subjects. It changes from culture to culture.
But when we talk about culture, it's this vague thing that's this kind of mood within a country. But these are individuals. This is smart people that have heard jokes like this because people come to all the time. They come to me. You know, you do jokes about religion. You know, George Carlin. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm like, yeah. You know, like Jim Jeffries also does jokes about it. I'm like, yeah, it's part of a culture of stand-up, right? So, and these people go to shows, and this is the problem that I have is they were really upset at that. But then all the other comedians that came on after me, they did jokes in Romanian about men wanting to buy cars and women being stupid, and I'm like, oh, so you laugh at this? Oh, okay,
right.
So that's the problem.
Yeah, I get that.
And so, yeah.
So you require your audience to get to a certain level of taste in comedy.
No, I don't know. I expected.
Okay.
But it really hurt me.
Yeah, it's hard to put it into hierarchy saying this is better, this is worse.
This is not the first time.
This is different.
This is the attitude that, if we're talking about culture, this is the Romanian attitude. Constantin Brâncuș, one of the greatest sculptors to have ever lived, pioneers of modern sculpture, sculpture. He wanted to live all his work to the Romanian state in the 60s when he died. And the Romanian state went like, what, these fucking metal shit? We don't want it. And now it's in Paris at the Centre Pompidou, opposite of Centre Pompidou. There's a building specifically for Brâncuș. He's in the biggest museums in the world, but not except in Romania. And now Romania is like, oh, we always appreciated this guy. We didn't.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen with you too, man.
But this is the thing, because like I saw there was this thing with John Oliver did a piece on museums. You know what I mean? And then he was like, you know, the British Museum, they stole all of these things from these countries, and I'm like, those people didn't give a shit about that thing when they were taken. Like if they were made out of gold and, you know what I mean, precious stones. Oh, they cared about it then.
Yeah.
But people in Cairo used to sell mummies on the street. There's photos from the early 1900s of people selling mummies as like for fire. So people would just burn mummies as wood. Mm-hmm. And now they go like, oh, the precious Egyptian head. I'm like, you go to Egypt. It's like, aside from the 3 pyramids, you know what I mean, in Giza, everything else is left to just rot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They don't care. But when the British Museum goes like, hey, this actually has value, everyone goes like, well, we always knew this and we always cherished this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the reality of things.
That's how it is here too.
Yeah.
We had so many things stolen and people still don't care about historic ruins or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's in human nature, I think. If I don't give a shit about my shoes, it's not like my favorite shoes anyways, but if a lot of people want that shoe, I would sell it for a higher price, right?
Yeah.
That demand creates the meaning and value in things. That's
Yeah.
how art works. But some cultures appreciate art better than other cultures and
But this is
remind
the
them
thing,
this is
because in Romania, there's such a feeling about like, we know what art is. Don't come here and tell us what art is with this
there's
language.
snobby about it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
until someone, because there's a few of us doing it in English, right? There's a few Romanians, and
I know Radu Isaac.
Radu is
Isaac.
respected in Romania. He is, I think he's the best Romanian comedian,
Yeah.
like all around, Romanian and English. He's fantastic. And he is respected in Romania because he started in Romania. And the local comedians, they know him and they all admire him because he's really good. But all the rest of us, we studied it in English and nobody cares until we get a nod from like the approved institutions, right? Like when, one of us does the Comedy Store, everyone goes like, oh, so they were good, but I thought they were good all along. You know what I mean? It's like, I just didn't want, because there's this thing of people don't want to be the first to say like, oh, this is good, because what if they're wrong? And their reputation.
They don't wanna back up their opinions.
Yeah,
They
until
wanna
someone
rely
else
on
does
others.
it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's interesting. But as a traveling comedian, let's talk about English-speaking audiences all around where you have been.
They're amazing.
They're amazing.
And the Romanians, they're so supportive. The Romanians who live abroad, man, they're so nice. Like I did a show in Vienna like 2 weeks ago. A lady brought me like aubergine spread, which is like a traditional thing. She came to the show and she brought like a jar of it. And I'm like, oh, this is so nice. And
What's the name in Romanian?
Zakuska.
Zakuska.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lovely. And sometimes I talk to them after the show. They're amazing. They're really nice. They're open. They're smart. They're highly educated. It's a brain drain out of Romania. Just like the best people left Romania.
Yeah, we have that here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the similar experience. The good ones are leaving the country anyway, so
Yeah.
you are left with the...
But the audiences are basically similar in makeup most places I go.
Yeah, you talked about your worst experience. It was in Romania.
Yeah.
What was the best?
Man,
If you had to
it's-
pick and tell us.
It's like I can't pick because I am amazed and humbled that people would take time out of their life to come see me tell like penis and vagina jokes. And there's no one else. It's just me doing the show. I open, I mirror, I close. And they take they spend money for a ticket, they drive there, they get there, they take whatever they do. It's like it's an effort, and I am like, this is amazing because it's like it's just weird to choose like the biggest number. You know what I mean? Like I did a big theater in Warsaw, and that was like probably the biggest show I've ever done.
How many people?
Like 430.
That's nice.
But then that was amazing. And it was just like, who are you people?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I did like a small village in Iceland. 28 people in a village that's 1,400 people, including children, old people, geriatrics,
Yeah.
like people in a vegetative state,
Yes,
like they can't leave the house. You know what I mean? Because they're like hooked up to a machine.
Yeah.
And it was fun as well.
I bet
too,
it was like the
430
house
people.
was just
I did it in a bait shop, in a place like near a lake, near a fjord, in Iceland, where they sold bait for like fishing. And the people came, and I was like, "How did you find out about the show? This is amazing." Lovely people, but the most impressive thing for me was they were kids. Like 16-year-old, like some boys just came together and they were like, "We're going to see this. This
Yes.
is amazing."
Yeah.
And I was talking to one of them.
It feels like a community service, man. You're doing these shows in small towns. It's like
Yeah, I'm
nobody
like-
goes there for
I'm
those
like a
people.
comedy monk.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I was talking to one of them and he was like, "You know what I really like? I want to be a cook because I love Middle Eastern food." And I'm like, "Oh man, that's great. Yeah, but I dream that one day I'm going to eat a real kebab." And I'm like, man. Because he's
It's so naive.
Yeah, but it's like he never left that village.
Yeah.
He never even went to Reykjavik, which is on the opposite side of the island. Right? It's so far from him.
Right.
He never had kebab.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is amazing, right? And it's not fair to compare the
Come to
experiences.
Istanbul, guys. We have the best kebab in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. The Icelandic people are listening to this right now. They're packing their...
Maybe that 16-year-old fan is listening though. Who knows?
Maybe so. He's following you everywhere, maybe.
So this is the experience of doing shows in English and all over the place.
Can I ask a question? If
Of course,
you
go
don't mind?
ahead.
No.
Please.
Men.
Please. So I do this podcast in Turkish and I interview comics, and I've been asking this question to the last few comics, and I'd love to get like your opinion, thoughts on how do you build an act? What's your approach to it? Do you think there's like a way to do it, or is there a way you do it? How do you look at that?
Everyone writes differently. You start with 5 minutes, basically.
Yeah.
And everyone has their a different way of working. You know what I mean?
How do you do it?
I just try to remember the jokes.
You don't write down the jokes?
Not really now. Sometimes I write ideas, but I never look through. Like I have.
You don't think of a set list before you go up?
Basically, there's different types of shows, right? If it's a lineup show, if it's a showcase, I just think of the first thing that I want to say. Right now, I just open with "fuck Vladimir Putin." I have a bit on like the fucking cunt, and
So your opener and closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I just go like, okay, let's see what I feel like.
What about the 400-seater show you
That's
did?
a show.
Right.
So it's a show with beginning, middle, and end, with the logical structure, with a thing in my head where I start from one subject and I end up with another. Callbacks, and it's a structured show because people come to see a show, and I want to
Right.
give them a show. Basically, what I do is I do 2 parts of the show. First part is I do crowd work and old, new jokes, whatever just
Pops
comes
out.
from the moment. And then I take a break, and then I do the show. The second part is the show. It's an hour, like 55 minutes to an hour. It's a show with like structure. And that's a thing. That's
How
the
long is the
product.
first half?
Depends, between 30 and 50 minutes, sometimes an hour. Depends how fun the crowd is, how open they are to chat,
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And
But yeah,
that
it's...
structured show you don't have it in writing, though. It's in your head.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, Nikki Glaser talks about that. I'm a huge fan of hers. And she's like, doesn't write it. She just has
She
it.
gets other people to do it.
No, dude, that's only for a roast. It's all in here.
I see. I am one of those who needs to write things down.
Me too. I write a set list before every show.
Yeah.
I have to. It's just compulsive.
Yeah, for group shows, I just put a couple of bullet points for me to remind myself the whole joke, not the word by word. But for my solo show, I started doing this new Turkish solo show back in February 2022, and I had to write everything down first.
Yeah.
But then later
Word
on,
by
I
word?
do small edits. Yeah. Now, what I tell right now, after 9 months of doing that show, I tell something different actually. It's like
It grows, right? It evolves.
75% similar to first draft, and many sentences changed. The words, I put the punchline in a more punchy place. Sometimes punchline changed. But yeah, I am also lazy on that. And, I don't really go, this works for me, and I don't do the thing that works for me. That makes it lazy. I don't really judge other people who doesn't write from the beginning, but that's what I do, and I have to go back. And I also find trouble to listen myself after the shows. I know you don't have, because right after the show, you listen yourself.
I do
Get
too.
a-
I love listening to myself.
I hate it.
I love it. I'll record it, and then I'll be on the ferry. I'll just like be jizzing to my own sound, and like sometimes I have to like listen to it 2 or 3 times in order to be like, okay, Nilüfer, now listen to how it actually like if it worked or not, Because I had a professor who like started out with like Louis C.K. and all of them. He was like buddies with like Sarah Silverman and all that, and he like did a comedy club, and he would give us feedback, which I'm like, strictly against those types of environments, but that kind of what he said was really helpful, like his approach at least. He was like, you gotta categorize jokes as like A, B, C.
No.
Okay, I'm just saying this is what he said. Take it or leave it. But like A is basically the amount of laughs it gets, you know. So then once you look at it through that lens, it takes you kind of take a step back from what you like to say, because that happens to me a lot, where like I'll be doing this new joke and I'm just like so stoked about it. I think it's like so edgy and I love saying it, but then after you do it 3 times, 5 times, maybe it's not getting the reaction, and you only hear that once you listen to the set, because on stage you're like having a great time, you know, you're doing the joke.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, it applies to positive things as well. You say something on the spot and you miss out a great
I forget
addition to your
everything.
punchline or an afterthought. Yeah.
What do you not agree with?
I don't agree with any rules.
Oh, sure.
I think this
But
is
that
maybe
looks like an attitude towards whole life.
to start. I think it's to start off. Maybe it's helpful. It's but then it's the worst thing that like rules like this.
But I totally
It just
agree with that.
ruins-
That's why I think that it's
Yeah,
really
double time.
dangerous to take a stand-up comedy class.
Never.
Yes,
I'll
don't.
never read how to write jokes. Never.
Yeah.
No, because
I agree with all
this
that.
is the thing. When the pioneers did it, they didn't. There was no course. No one would share how to write jokes. No one knew how to write like
Dude, they
personal
were all
jokes.
stealing jokes. I'm reading
Yeah.
this book, The Comedians,
Yeah.
started out from vaudeville, and those days there's no.
They were doing each other's jokes.
Yes.
There was a blackboard with like, hey, these jokes were done. Just don't do these jokes.
Yes,
On
they.
the shows. Yeah.
Yeah, they would like send their jokes in a letter to this one
Yeah.
place. Now it's my joke, but then that place burnt down. Some
Yeah.
people stole those jokes, and
But
then
who taught Bill Cosby?
right. Yeah.
Well, as a human being, horrible. But as a comedian, Mount Rushmore. Who taught Don Rickles? Who taught Mort Saul? Who taught Lenny?
Of course.
You know what I mean? Who taught Mobs Mabley? Who taught Joan Rivers? Who
Yeah.
taught Pryor? Cosby. But you know what I mean? It's like, who taught these people who broke the rules? Who just, because this is the thing. It's like, you know, when Jim Carrey talks with his ass in Ace Ventura?
Yeah.
You know, he
Yeah.
moves his ass cheeks and
Yeah.
he talks. He used to do that on stage.
Yeah.
Who taught him to do that?
Mm-hmm.
What course did he take where they go like, so if you start the set by talking with your ass, people will laugh and it's a level.
Uh-huh.
But then if you do, you know what I mean, Clint Eastwood, then that's a B. Then it's like, because this
I
is
know,
the
but
thing.
Yeah.
I feel like we have these tools now. And I love being a student. I was a terrible student in high school, and I was a really like a D, almost fail student. But then in college, once I started learning things that I actually enjoyed, turns out I love studying and like going deep into things
But this is not about doing it correctly.
No, it's not. I just
Yeah.
love studying. Like, if
But-
people approach it, why don't I try that? Like, laughs per minute, dude. I'm obsessed with that idea. LPMs.
Yeah.
I want to get all the.
But here's the thing.
It's not
Jim
healthy,
Gaffigan,
but-
Jim Gaffigan has like average of over 8 laughs per minute. Chris Rock has probably half of that.
Well, with tambourine.
No, with the early
Always?
stuff.
Yeah.
Bigger and blacker, bring the
Yeah.
pain. It's like
Yeah.
it's less. It's a different laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Why compare this? Because this is the problem. This is the
You're
toxic
right.
masculinity thing. It's like it's unfair to compare Seinfeld with Patrice O'Neill. Mm-hmm. It's not doing anyone's a service. It's
Yeah.
about the level. Mm-hmm. Are they on the same level intellectually and comedically?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it's not fair to compare people. It's
Yeah.
not fair.
It's I agree on that part where you shouldn't take any courses or education. You shouldn't really accept there are certain rules that you have to follow. But I also concur the idea that you don't need others. It doesn't mean that, because you have a lot of performances, a lot of examples to look up to. Even if it's not a course, you watching great comics on stage is a course for you.
Yeah.
So it helps. All the
totally.
knowledge we share right now helps a lot.
The
But-
reason why the comedy coming out of the U.S. is so good is because they're in an environment where they're surrounded by amazing people, right? Like Chappelle became Chappelle because he saw Tony Woods, right? And he saw this guy and he was like, I am going to do that. You know what I mean? Pryor became Pryor because he saw Cosby. You know what I mean? Don Rickles became Don Rickles because he saw Milton Berle.
How about you?
What?
Who you aspired the most that gave you the final push to go on
grandfather.
stage? Your grandfather?
Yeah. He was a funny guy. He told jokes. Yeah.
Funny guy? Like funny or, I don't know.
Funny guy as what I remember him as being. And warm.
Okay.
Worm?
Yeah, he was a warm guy.
Warm.
He was a
Oh,
nice.
worm. Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, he's a worm? What the fuck?
Well, he's not warm. He's dead now. He's dead cold.
yeah,
he's as
there's,
cold as he's
probably
there's
a
somewhere
part of-
around him now. Yeah.
Yeah.
A part of a worm family is feeding off him right now, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. I,
So
also,
this is the thing.
I think it was my dad, honestly.
Yeah.
He loved Chaplin. We watched a lot of Chaplin films, and he would like dress up as Chaplin. He does theater. He does like children's theater and stuff.
Hitler or Chaplin? Interpretation. Up to interpretation.
Many times I mixed both. And
Because you know Hitler had that mustache because
I
of
know,
Chaplin. Yeah.
I know. And then he was like so upset when Great Dictator came out.
Yeah. He called him Jewish, like to go like, hey, this guy is Jewish.
Thanks.
Actually, there was like a lot of propaganda around Chaplin being Jewish. He wasn't, but
I know, but he got exiled with the Red Scare and all that. Yeah.
it's very weird. But yeah, this is the weird thing about what we're trying to do is, of course, there's more and more rules, there's more and more courses, schools of thought of what is done. But the beauty comes out when you watch someone like Eddie Izzard and you go like, what? This comes from another place.
Yes.
It comes from street performance, and it's just, if you follow the rules, you don't get Eddie Izzard.
Yeah.
If you follow the rules, you don't get all
Yeah.
of these amazing people.
But yeah, let's say no grandfather, no father. Who inspired you the most as a stand-up comic?
It's a bunch of comedians. Seinfeld, Rock, Carlin, Norm MacDonald. Oh, beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Don Rickles, one of my all-time favorites. Don Rickles is like just pure comedy. It's just, is that your wife? Oof. Oof. That's the joke. Oof. Hilarious. She looks like a moose.
Whose joke is "Take my wife, please"?
It's an old vaudeville joke.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I think it was made popular in the 50s by, I can't remember the name of the guy, but yeah. Something, what the name is the guy? I forgot the name of the guy.
Okay.
This is a Googleable.
Googleable question.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah. I know what Google made to our brains. We never store information now because it's a couple of seconds away, the information. So
yeah, we don't need to store the information. So you can preoccupy your brain with better things. I hate people shitting on technology. This is the best thing. The reason why people are on their phone, you know why everyone is on their phone? Because it's better than what's in front of you. Most of the time, what's in front of you is people on an underground train. Just, is this what you want to look at? No,
Yeah.
look on your phone. Look at, you know what I mean? The greatest knowledge.
Yeah, sometimes I meet with a couple of old friends that I haven't seen before for a long time, let's say. And I don't enjoy the meetings. I was saying, we are communicating and actually interacting better on our phones. So let's end this meeting and go back to our digital lives.
Because this is the amazing thing about people coming to live comedy. I'm like, you can watch the best specials ever. You can watch Louis on your phone right now. Why are you listening to me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
for the live experience.
Yeah, whatever.
Because
It's
also
like-
you are great,
Yeah.
just like Louis.
Yeah, people are prehistoric. You know what I mean? They're just basic Neanderthals, and that's why they're like, oh, it was just communal entertainment. I'm like, no, just watch Norm. Watch Norm's first special. It's about death. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
You know Norm's special? It's
I
me doing
haven't seen
stand-up.
that one.
Oh, beautiful.
I don't think I've seen any of Norm's specials, but
One of the all-time greats.
yeah, to be honest, this is gonna be like a really wrong thing to say, but I am a little sexist. Like,
So you think women are not funny too?
no, I'm sexist against men.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
Healthy
hilarious.
one. Healthy one.
I just saw, and I don't know. I have this thing with Bill Burr too. I just don't want to open it up and listen to him. And it's not that I'm like, they're not good.
Because you might agree.
No, it has nothing to do with the content or what they're saying. It's just I don't want to spend my time listening to that. And it's probably bad. I should, since I'm like, I want to
who is
learn,
your
blah, blah, blah.
Comic that
What's your
inspired
top
you the
five?
most?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's Norm Macdonald for you. That name dropped more than the others, but
Rickles.
for you,
Rickles.
Don Rickles.
Don Rickles. All right, he picked Don Rickles.
Yeah,
How about you?
So I think Dane Cook was like such a, but then now Dane Cook is not a thing for me, you know? Like, so watching him then not doing comedy, it was like, what the fuck is this the one that he has like in the round, like what the fuck is this performance? Later on,
Let's say he's an honorable mention for you to.
honorable mention, sure. I mean, right now, honestly, Nikki Glaser is like, but I think it's just her career, not even just like her stand-up.
Oh, I see.
Is like very. I would love to have her career. That's why I do
you
podcasts 4
admire
days
her.
a week. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, she does it 4 days a week. I want my own reality show. Carlin was like, this is like art, you know. But I mean, I don't know. I'm hard at like dropping names. Rory Scovel.
Oh,
okay.
He's very good.
Dude, I watched him live in Atlanta, like in the front seat, and that was just like, I can't believe I'm showered by this experience for free right now.
It was free.
No pun intended. Yeah, because it was at a Star Bar, which is sadly closing down right now. But I don't know if I was on that show, but Monday nights they have an open mic where like you have to call on a Sunday at a certain time and leave a voice message, and then maybe you get on or whatever. And he like was closing out, and I was like so impressed. Yeah, Rory Scovel is just like, he does something else. You know Rory Scovel, and like his special, where like he recorded 7 nights of an improv. Like all improv for 7 nights, an hour, at the that place is also closed now. At this like church that was a comedy club, closed down, opened a bunch of times, and then like when I first started out, I was like 3 months in, and Rory's like special came out on Netflix. Not this like improv special, another one, and it was at that club, that church club, and in the audience were like comics that I had met recently, you know, like I knew these, they were like my friends. So that was like just so, I can't believe like I get to experience this, you know, like just see this, that I'm so close to this. Like stand up is really weird in that way where like, I was talking about this maybe last night or the day before, like we get to be like meet and like be friends with people we admire and that like we are fans of. That's so
that's
fucking
a great
ridiculous.
feeling. Yeah. That's a great feeling on any part of art. You are impressed with a painter, for example. You get to meet. It's also exciting. Yeah.
I don't think comedy is art.
Comedy is what?
What we do, I don't think it's art.
Yeah, I get that.
It's hard to be good at it.
Some
Let's
people-
agree on that one.
No, it's better than art.
It's real.
No, it's what art does, plus it's funny. Because we do absolutely everything that art already is. But then on top of that, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think
It's
I
like,
think it's
you know what I mean?
it can be art.
A brick, like, you know, glued to a wall, that's art. But then try to make that funny. Because we do what the brick does. You know what I mean? The peeled banana skin.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That was like
Or
a piece of art.
Toilet closet.
We do that too.
The champ. Yeah.
Everyone does that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, is like Dylan Moran not art? Is Stuart Lee not better than art? Louis is not that better than art? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're-
Some people might disagree though.
You're
If you
saying art plus laughter equals comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you don't speak English, they're not art anymore. They're just things that you don't really look at. But the brick,
Yeah.
more people would get it.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
then
English.
it's like Mr. Bean. I saw Mr. Bean on an airplane once. It was like on one of those, the drop-down screens, and there was no sound. I heard people laughing.
Wow.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's like the basics, you know what I mean, of of comedy. And
Yeah.
Chaplin is the same, you know, Buster Keaton. It's just unbelievable. Like Jacques Tati. It's just beautiful, like physical, like simple, like delicate comedy.
I don't know Jacques Tati.
Oh,
French dude?
yeah. Pure,
Yeah.
fantastic. One of the
black and white films?
No, well, his first films were black and white, like The Holiday of Mr. Hulot. But then he started making films that he produced himself. He died broke. Beautiful, like amazing.
Like slapstick, like Chaplin-like? Is that why you mentioned
It's difficult to like put
Or is-
in the
or is
genre.
there words?
It's his own thing. There's a few words, but it's a lot of like physical, subtle. In the framing, there's things happening in the foreground. There's like funny things happening in the background.
You said Jacques Tati?
Jacques Tati, Mon Oncle.
Very nice.
Yeah. Amazing, beautiful.
Great comedians, all great. We
There's
mentioned a lot of names.
in Sweden. He makes films. His name is Roy Andersson. He makes the weirdest looking films. There's no shadows. It's like people look very weird. It's hilarious.
Like it looks
Okay.
2D.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like people without life in them, but they also it's like such a nice metaphor for life. Roy Andersson. Totally underrated, just like unique sense of humor.
All right.
Yeah.
A lot of good suggestions. I hope everyone will check them out, including us. But I think we are running out of time, and I want to have a couple of closing sentences. If you want to have any message to anyone, feel free to use this space right now.
Love each other.
But me the most.
Yeah, love Murat.
Love Murat.
Yeah.
Love me, yes.
Yeah.
First love me.
You know, Murat in Romanian means pickled.
Pickled,
Yeah, like something, you know what I mean? You put in brine.
preserved.
Yeah.
I want to look at that way.
Yeah, mummified.
Mummified, yes. To use later, like a
Yeah.
1,000 years
It's
later.
like the jokes. You don't get them now, you'll get them when you get home. Or when another comedian is on stage.
I can brag about other comedians' laughter, saying it. They're actually laughing at me for a previous set.
They just understood the joke 15 minutes later.
Do you have any podcast ideas? Another thing to discuss for a couple minutes? Because we had these different ideas. I wanna open those subjects to other comedians as well. App developing, for example, chastity belt app. That would be which app right now? I think Snapchat is more like a virgin platform, is it?
No.
No?
Having an account on High Five.
What's that?
High five?
Yeah. It's like when MySpace was a thing.
Huh.
Yeah, it was an alternative that Romanians used.
Oh,
Okay, that's a chastity belt app.
Yeah.
I guess. What does it mean to be a chastity belt app?
I don't know. For example, anime app. If you have an anime app, well, you check a lot of hentai over there.
Okay.
That is probably a chastity belt app.
I'll say Scotty.
Scotty?
Yeah, do you know Scotty? It's an app where like motorcycles pick you up like Uber. Basically, yeah, motorcycles will come and pick you up. And I was using Scooty for a while, but I quit because it's fucking dangerous and terrifying. But my friend was like, "Oh, you're on Scotty because you want to be close to a man, and that's the only way you can do it."
You can touch and hug a man
Yeah,
on top of the fare you pay for the travel.
Exactly.
It's a bonus.
Yeah.
All right.
What is
then,
the question?
What would you consider a chastity belt app? So she considers that using Scotty is a pointer that she doesn't get late.
Yeah. I don't
So
know.
if you have it on your phone, it means that you don't get late much.
I think having PowerPoint as an app.
PowerPoint. I think if you have PowerPoint, you are getting late, but it's boring sex.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think that's the difference.
But if you have Excel now,
this is the position we're doing now. Click. Now this. Bullet points.
Now it's finished.
Babe,
Any questions?
I sent you the pointers, babe.
Yeah.
You saw the point. Saw the PowerPoint.
Yeah, a TEDx presentation.
All right. Yeah.
Well, we should have finished earlier because this is.
This was.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. We can use the editing magic to make it great. Like
This is
this
fucking
was in
boring,
between.
dude. We should have.
Yeah. We were like comedic influences. Like, what are you trying to do in changing comedy? And then like, what is a chastity app? It's like, what's the thing that keeps you single?
Dude, I'm glad somebody said it. I was like, what
So
the fuck
anticlimactic.
Is it?
Yeah, listening to this podcast, having this podcast on your
Yeah. Don't.
on your phone.
Yeah.
This is a
If
chastity
you
app.
don't like finishing episodes all the way to the end, you will love this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, bye, I guess.
Yeah, you were here on Passport Comedy Podcast, where we interview international comedians who has passports, basically, and also other creators. I was joined here today with Victor Patrascan.
Yeah, Peter Patrascan.
Victor Patrascan. I love
Victor
saying your
Patrascan.
name. It's like, I feel like I'm speaking Russian again. Victor Patrascan.
This is very offensive to my people. If only you knew what the Russians have done to my people.
I feel like if I say it, like I could say it a bunch of times and it'll sound like I'm speaking Russian. Like Victor Patrascan, Victor Patrascan, Victor Patrascan. You hate
He
it.
already said this is offensive, and
Okay, I'll
okay,
stop.
this is for the pure sake of comedy.
A Turkish person speaking Russian is the worst nightmare of a Romanian.
Привет, как дела?
Как тебя зовут?
Как тебя зовут? Меня зовут Нилюфер. Как тебя зовут?
Нахуй, блядь ты.
Я не смогу по-русски.
All right. This is for the Russian
So
episode.
used.
All right. And I was also here joined by
Yuri
Nilüfer.
Gagarin.
Oh my god, I can't do this outro. Not again. Nilüfer Yüce, everyone. Okay.
Okay,
This is
bye.
it. Bye. Take care.
Gazprom.
Пока. До свидания.
Yeah, slowly fading away like
Контакты.
90s
Хлеб
pop
это
songs.
мой друг. Водка это моя подружка.
Yeah, touch my Patrushka.
No, vodka is my Patrushka.
Yeah.
Vodka is my father. Is it?
Yes, vodka is my father, and my mother is within another woman. But if you open it up, this is my mother.
Bye.
All right, take care.
Hello, can I see your passports, please?